Welcome to the Grow My Salon Business podcast, where we focus on the business side of hairdressing. I'm your host, Antony Whitaker, and I'll be talking to thought leaders in the hairdressing industry, discussing insightful, provocative, and inspiring ideas that matter. So get ready to learn, get ready to be challenged, get ready to be inspired, and most importantly, get ready to grow your salon business. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Grow My Salon Business podcast. I'm your host, Antony Whitaker, and it's great to have you here with us today. Now, thank you for all the compliments I've got recently regarding the podcast. I really do appreciate it. And if you're one of those people who haven't yet left us a review for the podcast, I would love it if you did that as well. Ratings and reviews are extremely helpful. They do matter in the rankings of the show, and it helps other people to find the podcast. I also love to hear what's been helpful to you. So, with that said, on with today's show, which I have titled The 7 Roles of Salon Management. Now, we all make mistakes. That's just a part of life. There's a certain inevitability about it. In fact, someone once said that he or she who makes no mistakes usually doesn't make anything. So I don't mind saying that I make plenty of mistakes. Obviously, some are bigger than others, and it's only when you make mistakes that you have an opportunity to reflect and to learn something from that mistake. In fact, another quote I once heard was, "There are no mistakes, only learning experiences." And I suppose that the message here is that it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. Meaning that when things don't work out as planned, whatever it was, that instead of thinking of it as a mistake, that you reframed what happened and how you think about it so that you get the lesson and you're then able to move on all the wiser for it. Now, probably the biggest mistake that I see salon owners make, and I for sure made this one, is that when you open a business, you tend to think you'll just know what you need to do from a management perspective. In fact, you probably thought that when it comes to management, there's actually not that much to do. I'll just employ nice people who don't need managing, and they'll just follow my lead like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and the business will just run smoothly. And that there'll never be any problems because, well, everyone will be professional, and they'll be team players, and they'll be hardworking and motivated and loyal. But inevitably, life, business, employing people, building a team, and managing a business isn't like that. It doesn't always run smoothly. No business ever does. And as the business owner and manager, the responsibility to be a leader, a problem solver, a manager, all comes down to you. And so you better learn, and you better learn fast. I know someone who isn't a hairdresser, but who's just done a 3-year management degree. And you or I would never employ him to work in a salon as a hairdresser because he hasn't had any training to be a hairdresser. So why do so many salon owners imagine that they'll just know how to lead and manage a team and build a business when they haven't had any training in management or business? After all, my friend has just spent 3 years studying to get his management degree. So I'm sure that during that time he learnt some things that if we as salon owners had learnt and understood them, that they would enable us to be better managers and better leaders and to build a better business as a result. Because that's the goal that we all have when we open a business, to build a successful business. And the lesson we all learn once the business is open is that the skills that have made us a good hairdresser are not the same skills as the ones that are needed to build and run a business and lead a team. So what are the skills or the roles of management? What are the things that you need to put in place to create a business that runs smoothly? A business that attracts the right team and clients that go with it? A business that has the potential to grow and build successful careers for others along the way. Well, in the rest of this podcast, I'm going to focus on 7 core areas of salon management that underpin what it takes to build a successful salon business. The first one is that as managers, you need to understand the importance of consistency and replicating standards. Now, what I mean by that is that when you open your business, you're rightly proud of it. And so you want clients treated a certain way. You want things done a certain way. And so you quickly recognize that as there's only one of you and that you simply can't do everything yourself or even oversee everything yourself, whether that's how refreshments are served to clients or how much time is allocated for the client's appointments or what the prices are for the client's services. Regardless of what it is, you recognize that if you want things done a certain way to a certain standard, then you need to develop the systems, the processes, and the training so that A, you get a consistent standard no matter who does it, and B, so that you can delegate jobs to others on your team, and C, so that those on your team know what's expected of them. And that is part of what management is. Management is about having control or influence over how things are done. And the most effective way of doing that is to create a system so that when that system is followed, you not only get a consistent result, but everyone has clarity around things are meant to be done. So that's the first role of management, to develop the systems and processes to get things done to a consistent standard. And that feeds directly into the second role of management, which is managing the culture. Now, I love the word culture. It's all-encompassing. So in a way, it's hard to pin down and define exactly what it is. But in a business context, culture can be summarized as meaning how things are done around here. So as you can see, there's an obvious link between the systems and processes you develop and the culture that you create. But culture goes much deeper than systems and processes, because when you talk about the culture in the business, you're also talking about the invisible components that make a great business. The most important of which is the vision that you, the owner, have for the business and how you express that vision to those on your team. Because without a vision for the future, a vision for what you want the business to become, then there's no point of reference, no North Star to guide you or your team in your daily actions and behaviors and the decisions that you make as a leader. So for every business and for those that work in it, there needs to be clarity around the vision, the goals and objectives that there are for the business. And that brings us to the second point of culture management, and that is the importance of defining the values that you have as a brand and how those values are expressed in the daily actions and behaviors of everyone on the team. Because both the vision and the values you have as a team are in many ways the glue that holds you all together and drives the business forward. And so as a manager, it's your job to define the vision for the business and to decide what the values are that are important to you as a brand. And neither of those things can exist only inside your head. But when you put the pieces in place that define the culture, then whether you're there or not, there becomes an acceptable way that things are done that are bigger than any one individual. And so that brings us to the third role of management, and that is self-management, because your business is a reflection of you. And so working on your own personal development is a constant journey, and it will be reflected in the journey of the business. And so as your business and your team grows, you need to grow too. You need to be developing self-management skills, such as intentional goal setting, strategic thinking, self-motivation, and becoming a better leader. As a leader and manager of others, it's easy to always be giving to others. But to be a successful leader, you need to remember to fill your own cup as well, because you can't give what you don't have. Which brings us to the fourth role of management, which is time management. As a business grows, your role and the demands on your time will change too. So part of your journey is learning to maximize your effectiveness as a manager, both inside and outside of work through better time management. Whether that's through juggling the roles of being a busy stylist as well as being a manager so that you can be productive at both, or perhaps it's organizing your own time better with set start and finish times for specific tasks, or by understanding how to break down bigger projects into bite-sized pieces and then prioritizing your workflow. Or perhaps it's by managing meetings more effectively, or outsourcing certain functions of the business, or through delegating specific jobs to other team members. Whatever it is for you, effective time management is a skill that all managers need to possess. And that brings us to the fifth role of management, and that is people management. We are in the people business, and having good professional relationships both within the salon and with your external partners is essential for your success. And understanding the unique challenges that management brings, whether that's for new managers or managers that are not hairdressers or managers that are younger than the team they're responsible for managing, whatever it is, all these things bring with them challenges that you need to overcome. And the key to doing that successfully is all about setting up effective communication systems. After people management, the sixth component of salon management is to understand the role of operations management. Meaning, what are the systems and processes that you need in place so that the business operations run like a well-oiled machine? Operations management covers everything from the safety and security of your team to how the onboarding of new team members takes place, to managing the physical space that you work in, the cleaning, making sure that all the equipment is in good working order, and right the way through to inventory management of your professional use and retail products, and the restocking of the shelves. And lastly, at number 7 on my list is client management, meaning how to manage the professional relationship between the client and the salon business. And that will include the client journey, from the moment they make an appointment to when they walk in the door and what happens at every stage of the salon visit, right the way through to any post-visit marketing communication. And client management will also include how you deal with complaints, what the salon's cancellation policy is, and the salon's internal policy on social media management. So that's an overview of the 7 roles of salon management. And with that said, we do need to start winding up this short episode. But before we do, we have multiple free resources on our website, from our weekly podcast, which you're listening to the 2-minute Salon Manager videos, as well as our paid-for resources, whether it's our books, our one-to-one coaching, or our online courses. And relative to today's podcast, there are a couple of resources that I want to point you towards. The first is my books, the Grow series, Grow 1, Super Stylist, Grow 2, Management, which is a lot of what we've been talking about, Grow 3, Team, and Grow 4, Marketing. And as it's March, we will be relaunching our online management program, where we go into a lot more about building your business from the ground up and creating the management systems and the culture that you want. So if you want to find out more about it, visit us at growmysalonbusiness.com/courses, or on Instagram at growmysalonbusiness. And I'll put those links in the show notes for today's podcast on our website or wherever you're listening to this. So to wrap up, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Grow My Salon Business podcast. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you'd like to connect with us, you'll find us at growmysalonbusiness.com or on Facebook and Instagram at growmysalonbusiness. And if you enjoyed tuning into our podcast, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Until next time, this is Antony Whitaker, wishing you continued success.